Hi everyone, this is Vikas from Talentown magazine, and we are back with another interesting personality. Our guest today needs no introduction at all. He is an actor, a VJ, and currently one of the most popular faces of sports broadcasting in India. So let's welcome Gaurav Kapur. How are you doing, Gaurav?
Very good, Vikas. Thank you. How are you?
All great. Thanks for joining us today. Gaurav, back in the days when you started out as a VJ on Channel V, in a short span of time you became a household name and a youth icon. You have also acted in several movies.
Yeah.
Before we get into the more serious part of the conversation, I have a quick question for you. I was going through your filmography and couldn't help but notice that your first two movies were scary movies, back to
Yes.
back. What
Yeah.
was that fascination about scary movies at the beginning of your acting career?
But when you say scary movies, you mean कि जब the result of the film was scary or the story
I
was
meant
scary?
I meant
Both.
the story
Both were
and the
scary actually. But I think it's a very good point because now I don't like horror at all. I think I've just become older. So I don't like watching scary films. I keep teasing my mother that I've become like her. मेरी माँ का क्या है that even when there is a fake fighting भी होती है ना अगर टीवी पे somebody's
yeah.
punching someone comedy fighting भी हो रही है अगर तो she'll just close her eyes. No, I don't.
Oh,
So I'm slowly becoming like her now. कि कुछ scary
uh,
हो anything which causes anxiety, anything that's troublesome, I don't like to watch it. But at that time, I guess you're younger, so you like all
mhm,
these things. I think for me, the first film, the Cinevista film that I did, which was Shh, Shh. They didn't even
yes.
give a word, yeah. They just gave a sound. It's so weird to
Yes.
say it. Shh. So my first film, Shh, in that I got to play a killer. So I mean, if you're getting a movie and you're getting to play a killer and you have a comedic role through most of the film, and then you are revealed as the killer, then obviously that is it's very enticing to take up. So I took that up, and the other film Darna Banaya was a Ram Gopal Verma production. So
Yes.
you don't say no to anything that Ram Gopal Verma is doing in the early 2000s. So I think that was, besides the genre and the stories that I enjoyed, I think it was also all these factors that come into play when you choose a film.
Right. Unfortunately, I didn't see the other one, the one with the sound. But Darna Mana Hai
कोई बात नहीं,
was
किसी ने भी नहीं देखी.
but Darna Mana Hai was an excellent movie. That was a complete entertainment. So,
Yeah, well, the
well,
thing is कि अगर लोगों ने देखी होती वो film, तो I would have probably done a few more films. But unfortunately, not too many people saw it. But that's what it is, man. I mean, one out of like 40 or 50 films is a successful film, right? So luck plays a big hand as well. And maybe the film at that point in time just sort of didn't add up to what people wanted.
fair enough. Now, as my little curiosity about that aspect is out of the way, let's talk about your transition from scripted entertainment to live sports
Yes.
broadcasting.
Yeah.
When and how that happened?
So, as I say, most things in life happen with serendipity, with a, fortunate series of events. And I had quit Channel V. And the thing is that I was always doing unscripted more than I was doing scripted. So when I did a few films, a little bit of fiction, I actually have always been an improv performer, radio jockey, VJ. There never scripts involved in all these things, right? It was all non-fiction and it was all improv. So my heart was always there. My heart was always, you know, दूसरों की लाइनें नहीं अपनी लाइनें बना के अपना सिचुएशन बना के अगर आप कुछ कह सके my heart and my mind was always in that. So when I quit Channel V, sport is something I've always been interested in. So when they said, okay, it's live and it's sport, it's like two of my loves getting married. Also, I'm a very lazy person. If somebody tells me it's live, I'm very happy because then I know when it starts and when it ends. So there is no wastage of time, right? So efficiency is maximum. So everything added up together. And of course, if you get to do cricket in India, I believe that cricket is the only thing that is pan-Indian. Everything else is regional.
Right.
Films, food, religion, politics, everything is regional. But cricket is pan-Indian. So when I got a chance to do that, and how I got a chance to do it is because I have a friend called Prashant Singh who was working in sports management. There was a tournament happening which nobody was watching. वो सहारा फिल्मी पे that tournament was coming. It was India A, Pakistan A, Holland, Ireland in the month of May in Abu Dhabi. No one is watching this tournament. You can tell कि कुछ झोल झपाटा हो रहा है कहीं पे people are making money, right? Making these people play in Abu Dhabi in the month of May. But obviously, they couldn't find a presenter for this because it was not a high profile gig. And my friend Prashant was working on that, and he said, "Listen, I know Gaurav, his live experience, and he's very interested in cricket." They were like, "Arey, but ye to VJ hai, can he do it?" I went and met them. They said, "Oh, you are a cricket fan." I did that. I met Jatin Paranjpe in that show, who is a former India cricketer and who was the Nike marketing head at the time. He said, "Listen, we're doing a show. Nike's doing a show on ESPN Star called Football Locker Room. I want you to do that." वो करा उसके बाद 3-4 शो उधर करे, then IPL happened. So it's almost like a series of fortunate events, right? So which is what I tell people, if you really want to do something, it doesn't matter if the first project is not A grade, just do it, because you'll end up meeting people and you'll end up showing your talent and you will get better opportunities.
Great. So, Gaurav, you are also an entrepreneur and you have founded your own sports media and production agency by the name Oak Tree.
Yes.
What was the idea and motivation behind it?
It was basically telling stories in sports. So I'm a big fan of sport, but I'm an even bigger fan of the human stories in sport. I feel that sport is the ultimate truth. जो होता है आपको सामने दिखता है. A goal is a goal, and it's not 2 goals. And a 6 is a 6. It's not a 4, right? So whatever you see is happening in front of you, but the stories that happen behind the scenes, people don't know. And I was very curious about these stories, so I used to find out these stories in my own time when I used to be traveling for matches. And somewhere I thought that these stories need to be told. They're not being told. You don't hear them on Sony and on Star because, the money involved in cricket rights is so high that they have to focus on the live game, right? They can't focus on all the other things. It doesn't make financial sense. But if you do it on a small scale, with, economies of scale and efficiency in financial production, you can make this a viable model. And that's why I thought business-wise and creative-wise, this made sense. And that's how I felt I wanted to start a content company that tells stories of sport.
Right. So, speaking of your flagship programs, the Breakfast with Champions,
Yeah.
it is an amazing show and it has a refreshingly casual and personal feel to it, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
You must have hosted hundreds of shows before that. So, how
Yeah.
that years of experience helped you shape the format of the show?
So my idea when I created that show was I wanted to make बिल्कुल ulta from television show, right? I didn't want to have I wanted to make it exact opposite, because whenever you're talking on television, it becomes very formal. It
Yeah.
becomes very, लोग थोड़े guarded हो जाते हैं. So I said, what can I do to make them unguarded, to make them casual, to make it friendly? My idea was to make the viewer feel like the third person at the table, listening to two friends have a conversation. So I always approached it as a chat show, as a conversation, rather than an interview. So when people say that it's an interview show, I say, well, that's where you're getting it wrong. It's not an interview show, because an interview show is a question and answer, right? That's what newspapers do.
Yeah.
This is a chat show. This is a conversation. It's not a conversation about आपने जब 100 मारा था तो आपका cover drive कितना अच्छा था. It's not about that. It's about life and stories and what makes you, right?
Yeah.
So that was the idea, and I just felt like nobody was doing it at the time on television, and it was something that I wanted to do. So visually, I created it as keep the cameras very far. There's never any lighting. There's no makeup. We never lock the location. If you see, people are still walking in and out, right? There are people walking in frame. There are people walking out. People are serving breakfast behind. We always go to a place and say, we don't want you to stop. Please keep doing what you're doing. If cutlery is falling, let it fall. It's fine, right? We don't care. That's what makes it feel real. So अभी यहाँ भी मैं कुकर की सीटी बजवाऊंगा पीछे, don't worry, because थोड़ा real वाले feel के लिए.
Sure, sure. And your shows have been winning trophies at Talent Rec Awards, so congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Coming to the content creation part, you are a very successful
Yes.
content creator, Gaurav, and these are interesting times for digital content production and
Yes.
consumption in India and around the world.
Yeah.
This new access has empowered the individuals. Tools are freely available, and online platforms are open for all. But more accessibility means more competition, right?
Yes.
We have our own talent hiring platform, Talent Track, where we have a large number of influencers and content creators.
Yeah.
Your word of advice for upcoming content creators, how to do it right?
Yes, sincerity, first of all. If you're genuinely interested in something, people can tell. So don't just do something because it's a good business opportunity. You have to be first completely interested in it. Whatever your field is, whether it's food or sport or fiction or cars or, the weather, fashion, music, whatever it is, you have to be genuinely interested in it. Over the years, I've seen even in cricket, I've seen the people who are supremely successful as storytellers of the sport are the ones who live and breathe cricket all the time. So, I'm always teased by my friends that I'm watching the Big Bash League also, and I'm watching some test match that's happening, between, two other countries that, have nothing to do with India. But I'm genuinely interested in the sport, right? So that's the first thing I'd say, sincerity. If you sincerely love what you're doing, it helps and it shows, especially if you're doing something with non-fiction. Secondly, once you found that niche, attack that niche, right? So personal pain point, like for me, when I made these stories, why did I make them? Because I was not getting to see them, right? And I wanted to see them. So as a creator in whatever niche you're in, if you feel like, sorry, my phone is ringing. If you feel like, this doesn't exist, I would like to watch it. So that means you're guaranteed to have audience of one, right? Then make it, right? Then make that. And don't try to please everyone. You can never do it, right? So once you are sincere, you have integrity in the process, you're true to the process, make it, and the audience will find you, right? They will find you. If you say, I will try to make the whole world happy, you can't do that. मैं थोड़ा ये भी डाल दूंगा, थोड़ा वो भी डाल दूंगा, थोड़ा ये भी, वो नहीं चलता. You just
Right.
do the niche you have chosen and just chase that completely, because now with the democratization of content, the good thing that's happening is that content can exist in silos. So if you're making, let's say you like food and fashion, कहीं से आपने सोच लिया कि food और fashion का overlap में एक show बनाऊंगा या बनाऊंगी. You do that, you will find the people who will come. If you say, okay, let me put a little bit of home decor in this also, I don't know it. Let me put a little bit of gardening also, but I don't know about plants, because no, don't do that. Chase the things you know and do them absolutely correctly and sincerely.
Right, that's very insightful. I'm sure a lot of people will find it very useful.
This
I would like
one.
to touch on another interesting aspect of content production, which is branded content. It has
Yeah.
emerged as a powerful medium, and its reach, especially on social platforms, is phenomenal. You and your company has also worked with several brands.
Yeah.
So, why does branded content make so much sense for the companies that want a meaningful engagement with their target audience?
I think the word that you've just said in your question actually answers the question, which is meaningful. I think that there is advertising, and advertising in its conventional form will always exist on television, 30-second ads, 20-second ads, etc. But people know that they're watching ad films. If you see that over the last 15, 20, 30 years, even in ad films, storytelling has become more important, right? It's no longer just buy this cup, it is the best, right? It is now you try to tell a story around it. So even ad films have become that way. And now what brands are doing is they're saying, okay, we have people who are watching this particular type of content. If we feel that we can organically and seamlessly integrate into it, then people will absorb it and people will digest it and people will think about it. So I think that's what's important. Don't try to force fit a brand just because a brand comes and says, oh, we want to do something. But if it has nothing to do with your audience and nothing to do with your content, you have to say no, right? Because you may make that short term money, but you're doing long term harm to yourself and the brand. So make sure that you choose brands that can meaningfully and organically and seamlessly integrate into the content. And I think my word of advice to brands also is don't try to force fit. Don't try to, shove something down the throat of the audience, because the audience is very clever now. If the audience sees that ye na force fit ho raha hai, they actually, it has a negative impact. So if you're going to a content creator, then let them lead that. Of course, you have your opinion because you're paying the money, but let them lead it. You don't go to a doctor and say, नहीं नहीं मुझे वो वाली दवाई दो, or you don't go to a chef and say नहीं नहीं इसको दूसरी तरफ से बनाओ. if you're going to an expert or a professional, let them do the job. You can give your preference. Please feel free to tell the chef that, hey, I'm allergic to mushrooms. I can't eat them, right? But don't start tampering with the recipe when you're there. So that would be my piece of advice to sort of both sides of this equation.
Right. Gaurav, when we last spoke, you talked about the need of creating more column space and screen time for sports content other than cricket.
Yeah, yeah,
And you were also making efforts in that direction. I wanted to
yes.
know how that initiative going.
Yes, so I mean, currently we are working with some of the Olympians to make some content with them, to make some shows with them. I am very keen this year actually to break from tradition and do a Breakfast with Champions entire season with non-cricketers. So because
Okay.
it's an Olympics year, we have some amazing champions across multi-sport in India. So
Right.
that's what I want to do, and that's what we're working on right now. And hopefully, we should be able to sort of close the entire deal and start working on that by the end of March. So that's the idea, to make that and release it in the build up to Tokyo 2020, which is happening in
Okay.
2021.
Right. So, what are the other projects you are working on?
Well, right now we have the IPL coming up. So with the IPL, I'm going to be on CricBuzz every day, and that is something that I've really enjoyed after extra innings on Sony. I'm very happy that I moved completely digital, and I'm happy that I went with CricBuzz because they're
Yeah.
just some amazing people to work with. So that'll be coming up, and then of course, as Oak Tree, we produce content for a couple of the teams. For Mumbai Indians, we produce all their content. So our team, does about 400 videos for them through the entire season. And very interestingly, we're actually now also branching out into long form content. So we will be announcing very soon a limited series biopic that we're making. We've partnered with a very big Bollywood director as well, film director, partnered with him to be showrunner, co-producer. So so we will be announcing this in a couple of weeks as well. So that's happening. We're making a couple of documentaries as well. So we are branching out a lot. We've kind of divided the company into two. So my creative director Nirav Ghosh, he's my producing partner and creative director. He's basically now taking over and focusing on long form content, on limited series, documentaries, not film yet, but let's see. And then we have the team which is taking care of all the short form and all the digital series and our existing portfolio of shows. So this is going to be an exciting year. It's been a slow year. Last 12 months, obviously, we all suffered a lot because of it. But it's good to see that things are back on track. Not completely, पर हमने कहा कि कोई बात नहीं यार, अगर सपोर्ट मिलेगा तो करेंगे, सपोर्ट नहीं मिलेगा फिर भी करेंगे.
Right. Totally, totally. So the IPL auctions are just over. You are looking forward to IPL. What are you most excited about?
Oh, I love that tournament, man. That tournament is in my blood. I think if you would take out my blood, it would probably be the blood group would be IPL positive. So I am just completely a mad fan of the tournament. So I am, looking forward to seeing. This is the one thing I look forward to every year, is hoping that a new team wins the tournament, right?
Right.
Because now Mumbai has won it 5 times, and I'm a big fan of Mumbai. I'm a big fan of Rohit. But there are 3 teams that have not won the tournament at all. That's Delhi, Bangalore, and Punjab. So let's see if one of these can win it this time. It's nice. It mixes things up a little bit. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Gaurav, it is always a pleasure to interact with you and hear about your fabulous work. Thank you for speaking with us today, and we wish you all the very best for your upcoming projects.
Thank you very much, Vikas. It was a pleasure talking to you, and a big thank you to everybody at Talent Track and Talentown. Thank you so much for sort of always supporting the work we do and always keeping your eyes out for it and encouraging it. So thank you so much to your entire team.
So, guys, this was ever so cool Gaurav Kapur. Keep following us on social media to catch more of your favorite stars. We will be back soon.